Alright, so here we are in episode 13 of LEGO Marvel Superheroes with our Thor the Dark World expansion pack guys. Fandral here with the sword, and I think Hogan with the club. And as far as I can tell, they're just guys with weapons who can hit things. But, I can't really say I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what exactly these guys were. So, I'd much rather just go down and get the level started. So, let's see if we can do that. Alright, this time we are going to be continuing the story on and getting back in pursuit of Doctor Doom and Loki. And we're going to be using the first team to storm Asteroid M, and that's our team of Thor, Spider-Man, and Iron Man. No help from Jean Grey. I don't know what decision it was to leave her out, but it's just the three-man group going in.
Any shield agent attempting to gain entry should proceed with extreme caution.
And so, since this is Asteroid M, we're going to see lots of Magneto's acolytes. But I love this scene. So they're in Tony's private jet, which evidently has spaceflight capabilities. And Spider-Man is taking a bath in the hot tub with his clothes on. In fact, there are lots of little cute moments in what's a relatively short level as far as this game's concerned. You see this moment here where Magneto suggests to Doctor Doom maybe Loki's not the most trustworthy person in the world. And then discover that Doctor Doom maybe doesn't have as much interest in Magneto as Magneto may think he deserves. But this is Magneto's station, and it's going to be Magneto who's going to be our main focus throughout the level. So here's Stark's private jet, and they notice the Doom plane, and then this I thought was brilliant. Spider-Man and Iron Man decide to send the Doom jet down the hall. If you wanted any sort of sign of why these two are going to get together during Captain America Civil War, I mean, this wasn't it, but darn it, it sort of felt like it. And so now we're going to have to deal with a bunch of Magneto acolytes.
Nobody's ever happy to see us.
Fortunately, we don't have to destroy Tony's plane to do anything. I mean, I guess it would be kind of neat if somehow we had to do that. But what we're focused on really are after we kill all the acolytes, which seems to be what I'm focusing on right here. There are a couple of, I don't know, wall platforms. One on each side for Iron Man to blow up. Now, one of them is hidden by a Spider-Man obstacle. But once we get those two things going, so you can see the pillar has appeared now. We're just going to blow up the middle junction, and then Thor can do his thing. Assuming we change our character to Thor. Now, when Thor is charging up his electricity, I'm sure you guys have noticed he can injure people who stand right next to him. That includes his teammates. And so that gives us some stuff to play with. And now we need to get just a little bit more stuff to play with in order to make this work. But you'll notice that if the room is symmetrical, that there's stuff in front of where we're trying to get. And that's up to Spider-Man to move that stuff. So he's going to get that stuff out of the way, and then it's going to be another process of Tony blowing up the wall so that Thor can charge the electricity inside. And You know, for the most part, I really like the way that Asteroid M works. I mean, the way it looks. It's not, the design's not overcomplicated, um, because I imagine that Magneto doesn't really get the opportunity to build too much of a space station, based on putting it in a hidden island and using untrained acolytes who, granted, have mutant powers, to put the thing together.
Whose less than stellar idea was this? Get ready.
So since we can't get through the door, we're going to suck the door into space. Except that, as happens sometimes with these push bars, yeah, we didn't really hold on long enough. So now I'm going to have to go and do it again in order to get the thing to reset and then have it get sucked out for real. And boom, we have access to the stadium, not stadium. We have access to Magneto inside.
Aren't helping, Lightning Rod.
You can fit.
End of the line for you, Hunter.
So now Magneto is going to try to stop a group of flying characters, or at least 2 flying characters and a web-slinging character, by destroying a bridge. That's not too smart. Both Tony in the Iron Man Mark 42 suit and Thor can fly. And Spider-Man has his fun little Spidey lines. And you see that tube right there? That's where the acolytes come out of. So one of the first things you really want to do is you want to seal the tube off. And you can do that once you break the stuff next to the fan. And so just to be thorough, I decided to go back around here and make sure I haven't missed anything. You can see there's a claw switch up there. Of course, we don't have any claw characters. There's a magnetic chunk floating around right there. We don't have any magnetic characters. So, you know, that stuff's not going to do us much good. And Magneto keeps setting up walls to slow us down. Magnetized walls, in fact. And that moment reminded me of just how good Iron Man is, because by staying away from all those enemies and then being able to target multiple enemies at once with his missiles, he was able to wipe out all of the Magneto acolytes at once. So Spider-Man investigates the window, and instead of finding a little thing for his web to grab onto, which is what you normally expect to have happen, it's a crease for Thor to hit. So Thor hits the crease. And now Spider-Man's going to pull on this thing, which is going to allow, I think that was air, knock some stuff out. Because there's only one way to fight magnetism, and that's with your own magnet. So we're going to use Thor to create an electromagnet here and get rid of these magnetically, you can get rid of these magnetic obstructions.
Spidey senses.
So here we go. Still moving. There's another tube exit for the Magneto's acolytes, and I like the fact that you can see the acolytes running around on other tubes trying to find where you are. And so now I'm in a part of the level where I decide to be Spider-Man for a little while. You know, I didn't... You have to remember that Iron Man and Thor can both fly, so there's nothing really holding them back from getting up here. Sometimes the game AI is good about this, and sometimes it's not. In this case, it sort of left me hanging. In this case, literally, because I am dangling by that little staff over there. What I need is I need Iron Man to go and pull down the other one like that. But we're going to seal off this tube first. Now you'll notice well, besides missing that jump there and having a hard time getting back up, you'll notice that there's a drain pipe right here. And I learned just the other day that there's an additional character who can use the drains, other than Ant-Man and Mr. Fantastic. And that is the Sorcerer Supreme. So, yeah, I've basically come to the conclusion that Stephen Strange is one of the more versatile and useful characters in this game, and he has exactly 0 playtime in story mode. Oh, he's got a mini level. You know, a Deadpool mini level that you get introduced to, you know, after defeating the main story. But yeah, he has no time in the main story, so if you want to use Doctor Strange, and you know, it's recommended because he works in a lot of situations. You're going to have to do it in free play. So now we're getting ever closer to Magneto. And he is still trying to get away from us. And now you can see they've added Doom bots to the armies that they're sending against us. Yeah, it doesn't really change the strategy, though. You just kind of gun them all down. Spider-Man, you know, Spider-Man's got a nice move there, because if you're Iron Man and you miss something, they keep coming at you. Spider-Man, you can slow them down. We'll need Iron Man to break the computer here. Now, in Lego Marvel Avengers, they're nice, and Spider-Man actually has the tech head skill, so he can actually do that in that game. Not so here. Here we're going to have to let Tony in the Mark 42 suit handle business. And so now we're into the boss fight.
Asteroid M,
And the cutest, some of the best dialogue in this game. Besides Thor.
Thor's god hammer. Oh, and I've demagnetized my armor just for
So you got Tony, who points out that, oh yeah, I've demagnetized my armor, so you can't affect me, and also points out that Thor's hammer is mythical and therefore can't be controlled. Something which I could buy. I think that Mjolnir sort of has a mind of its own anyway.
I was about to say the same thing.
So allowing itself to be controlled by Magneto wouldn't necessarily make any sense for the hammer. But my favorite answer, of course, is, you know, Spider-Man's like, I just took a bath. Which we actually saw happen. This fight is kind of like the other boss fights in that you're waiting for Magneto to throw throw enough crap for us to build something with it. In the meantime, you have to continue to hold off his acolytes. So, again, you're going to see me hang around more with Iron Man's character or Thor's. Not Thor, sorry, Spider-Man. Instead of Thor, just because they get their anti-personnel stuff quicker. And so now we've created an iron. And we are going to transport this iron, which has an Iron Man mask face on it, into Magneto. And then we're going to knock him down for his first set of hearts. And there are 3 sequences like this. So the first one you saw had to do with Iron Man. The second one is Thor's. But once again, we've got to hold off the rising storm of Magneto acolytes. So Magneto is Magneto will create a series of instruments with his magnetic powers. Like here he's created a metal Magneto holding a gun. Later on he'll use a chainsaw made up of, I guess, ionized studs. So now we're just waiting for some more materials to be made. And this time we're building a pumpkin. This is the second time in this game that I can remember us building a pumpkin, and perhaps we did it the third time. And again, I don't know what the fascination with pumpkins was here. I don't know if this is supposed to be a reference to the fact that the Green Goblin is in the game, and he likes to blow people up with pumpkins. But now Thor hits Magneto down to the point where he only has one heart left. So there's only one more sequence that we need to run through here. And since we've seen Iron Man, and since we've seen Thor, ultimately we know this is going to come down to Spider-Man. But this final one is really the neatest one just because it's a team effort. Other than being killed by a chainsaw, because, you know, that's always a good thing. Very enjoyable, being killed by a chainsaw. So here, you know, I'm just giving him time to throw crap at us. He hasn't done it yet. I'm taking out all of his little subordinates. Okay, here we go. We're gathering some crap. Means we might be getting close to something getting thrown, which I would appreciate. Alright, and he's definitely throwing it at Tony, and of course that killed us there. I was like, okay, do I need to break it down a little bit more? Do I have all the stuff? Does he have to throw more stuff at me? And not pleased about the freezing acolyte. Those are fairly rare. And now, you know, I thought this was kind of funny because he kept stacking things on Iron Man. Not all of which I think were hurting. Some of them definitely were. But then Iron Man builds what's essentially an electromagnet over here. We need Thor to charge it up. And then we just need a delivery system for the thing. Which of course leads us to Spider-Man. So he gets his moment in the sun here. And delivers the finishing blow to Magneto. And, you know, this is a Lego game. So we're not going to kill him, we're not going to... And they decided not to imprison him. Let's let Thor knock him out of the station with his hammer. And just in case you're concerned about Magneto falling through space, don't worry. He's not dead. He can probably come back. And we'll be able to continue our pursuit of Dr. Doom and Loki next time. And I will see you then.